Welcome back to the Break Zone. We're giving you our continuing coverage here of the third event in the Northern California Meta Potion Circuit. I am now joined by a fellow competitor here, Philip Marciano. So he's gonna be with us for these top 8 matches here. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. I scrubbed out, so I'm here to help.
He's a fellow member of the Break Zone, though, so we're keeping it in the family here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're getting started here with our quarterfinal matchups. We've got our top 8. We've had our break. People are ready to get into this. At this point, we're going to start to see some of the same competitors that we saw in the earlier rounds. But we're trying to bring you a variety of decks and matchups here. So we're going to bring you over to our first matchup, which is going to be Thomas versus Brian. We saw Brian play earlier. Actually, we've seen a lot of Brians today.
3 Brians, I believe, got top 8.
Yep, 3 Brians. So let it be known, playing Final Fantasy, if your name is Brian, you got a good chance of doing well.
You're pretty good.
Yep. And we have started already. So Brian starts off with a WRO member and a red mage.
Solid player. Brian is running a Lightning Earth deck. We're running the WRO members.
All right, Thomas is going to. Oh, we're going to get an early Alcid here. So that WRO member is not long for this world.
Alcid Rigdia. Solid play. No backups, though. No backups.
Yeah, but that's a pretty good turn 1.
It forces Brian to react immediately.
Yep.
Ready? Good. I don't have any back. I'll keep.
I mean, that's a rough play at any point in the game, but on turn 1, you're already looking at 2 forwards that are going to potentially attack you the next turn.
Yeah, and I had the pleasure of losing to Brian earlier, so I know what his deck can do, and it can do that. It can play an Amon, which is an immediate blocker on both of the forwards.
Yep, so he's going to attack with the Rigdia, which Brian's going to decide to take that, and then he's attacking with Alcid. He's going to possibly take that as well.
Yep.
No luck on the X-Bursts there.
And Maria coming up. So we got 2 7Ks, Alcid with a 7K, Rigdia 6K. Makes them even harder to block. Mm-hmm. Or that's not even Maria. That's a
Barrel Eye.
Barrel Eye.
That's Barrel Eye.
My apologies.
That's all right. We're getting a little bit of glare on that there, unfortunately.
Brian responds Robon on the Rigdia.
It's a good way to handle that at this point.
And then
it looks like he's going to attack with the Amon.
He didn't attack with the Amon. He actually passed the turn and then dulled down Alcid on Thomas's turn.
Ah, okay.
Gramus.
Yep.
Got Gramus coming out. Probably searching for Rigdia. Or no, another Alcid.
Another Alcid.
Alcid.
I mean, it's a little bit of telegraphing what's going on, but at the same time, it's going to make your, even telegraphing things sometimes, your opponent's going to think twice about what they're doing. Like, they're going to be reluctant to want to kill the Alcid because now they know that another Alcid is just, waiting in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Alcid, the perpetual hero of lightning. Any deck that features lightning.
You're running 3 Alcids, probably 3 Onion Knights, and probably a pair of Rigdias.
Yep.
It's such a staple in lightning by itself. It handles almost anything. It looks like we got the Amon lock, as I like to call it. Brian's just going to sit there and keep dulling everything. Oh, here comes the Wind Zidane. Everyone's favorite wind card.
Yep. Get rid of that Chantoto. I'm almost a little bit surprised that, because he discarded the Exodus, I'm almost a little surprised that he didn't just go ahead and play the Exodus to get rid of both Alcid and Amon. It would be an effective way to get rid of Amon while we already know that he retrieved another Alcid.
Yeah.
But the Zidane's a good play there, just because it gives him the information on what was in Brian's hand at that point. He gets rid of something that's potentially problematic.
Well, see, he picked the Shantoto, but knowing he has a Sage in hand, all Brian needs to do is play the Sage, and hey, you got a Shantoto back.
It's that guy.
It's
that Philip's
guy.
favorite guy.
It's everyone's favorite guy. I'm not going to finish the sentence, guy.
This is a family program.
Yeah. Yep. Here's the Amon lock again.
Attacking with Guy gets blocked by Zidane.
Or
sorry, it's the other way around.
Yeah. And then Onion Knight to finish off the guy.
Thomas has a very fast play style.
We're doing our best to keep up.
Yep.
These two are two of the faster players. I always
Yep.
find myself trying to keep up with them.
Yep. So that was blocking and then following up with the Onion Knight, which is a pretty like solid play in general for Lightning. Looks like we're gonna Atomos that Onion Knight, so a little bit of retribution there. The thing about Lightning matches is you're gonna see a lot of times things are not going to
Black Mage.
Black Mage.
And double Black
Okay.
Mage.
Notice he discarded the Al Cid there, which means that either he's expecting this one to stay on the field for a while, or he could have possibly drawn a third one. We don't know. We're getting the WRO member. Unfortunately, there's currently no other WRO members to boost it.
Just
but
a vanilla 6K.
yeah, but I do like one of my favorite things about them is the curve you expect for a TCP forward is 5,000. So the fact that you get 6,000 out of that is actually is good value even without the boosts. Oh,
There's the commander.
No, it's
Or
actually
no,
the backup.
that's the backup.
Yeah, the backup would have been helpful. That would have gotten him up to 7K in Brave.
Which would have been from.
And then he's playing Sage, discarding the Aerith there. He's going to retrieve something. Looks like it's going to be the Zidane. He's going
Everyone's
to
favorite
retrieve
Zidane.
the Zidane there.
He's gonna
He's
play
going to
the
play it,
Zidane.
and then we see that Brian has his own Al Cid, and he has another backup there. He chooses the Al Cid. It's kind of a pick your poison thing, I guess, because the Al Cid could be very problematic. But with that WRO member, like he's if he plays it now, he's gonna activate that. Yep, there it is. So now you
7K
have
Brave.
7K Brave. He could have. Well, I guess
He would trade
Zidane.
with the Zidane.
Yeah, I guess Zidane was 7K because of cards in his hand.
Yep,
We
swinging.
are now up to 4 damage on Brian.
4 damage to looks like 0.
Yeah.
And this is a very aggressive wind lightning deck that Thomas plays.
Yep.
The style of play it's hard to handle. It's got answers for everything.
And the tough thing is he's reached the point he's got 5 backups.
5 backups.
Now. So, so Brian's going to play his own Black Mage. We're seeing a lot of, it's not quite a mirror match, but we do have Lightning on both sides, which means we're seeing a lot of the same back and forth between the two. He does attack now with the...
Brave 7K.
Yep. And he chooses to block with the Al Cid. So, as I mentioned before, we saw him discard a second Al Cid. We'll see whether or not there's a third one coming.
Looks like he's just breaking the barrel eye, I believe. Just because he can.
Yeah.
Looks like he needed to free up a backup slot.
Yeah, although
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
I'm not sure unless he was. I'd have to let's look at Barrel Eye.
Yeah.
Okay, there comes
There's
Lulu.
a
Yeah.
Lulu, yeah.
I'm gonna check something on Barrel Eye there because normally you're not actually allowed to
I think he
break
was
a backup.
targeting.
If you can target your opponents with Barrel Eye, then it would work because he could still target the opponent's forward. But let's take a glance over there. 2 forwards, yeah. So he actually can get away with targeting the WRO member, the opposing WRO member. So it's actually a pretty good play to free up that slot there.
What does that do?
Oh, it does say up to. Yep. That's true. So, yeah, technically you can choose 0.
Oh, Kane.
Oh,
Kane. I've got
Kane.
a soft spot for Kane personally.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's jumping him.
Oh, okay. So there's a little bit of confusion there. Thomas was expecting that Kane to be attacking for damage. However, Brian is instead using the ability on that to make it so that it's essentially Kane jumping. It's actually a very good kind of thematic representation of Dragoons jumping. Looks like he just broke the Black Mage with Lulu, and then he's going to play Fusoya to finish off the WRO member. But anyway, it makes Kane untargetable to the next turn. When he comes back the next turn, he will be at double power, so he's currently at 10,000 at this point.
10,000. Well, Thomas doesn't have anything on the field. He can't shoot it with the Lulu right now, which is probably one of the reasons why he would want to do it.
Yep, he's going to attack now with the Kane. We'll see the Archer come up there.
Haste the guy.
He hastes the guy. Yep,
Hastes the
good
guy.
catch. All right, so we're up to 2 points of damage now. This is still a pretty fast-paced game at that point.
Yep. And he's going to shoot the Kane now with the Fusoya.
Yep.
Choosing to get back to looking like possibly Zidane. Yep, Zidane
Yep.
again.
Oh,
I've seen Thomas doing this line of play before, and he likes bringing back the Zidane and playing it several times. He's playing
Alcid,
Alcid, yeah. So Alcid, the hero of lightning decks, showing up over and over again here. But yeah, that Kane, when he comes out, if you use the kind of jump ability, he is protected from being targeted until the beginning of your next turn. And we're getting WRO Commander, just 7k at this point. There's no Vincent to buff it or other members for it to buff. So this is more about getting something on the field that can block at least, and you know, where it's not too dire for Brian at this point in time, but definitely with 4 damage, you got to make sure that you have bodies out there.
Barbarisha.
Yep, Barbarisha is going to lower the WRO Commander to 1,000 power. That doesn't count buffs, but there are no buffs currently on it, so it's going to put him right at 1,000.
Right, just the 1k. And
5th point of damage. 6th point is the Tama.
And let's see what kind of response Brian's got.
Oh no, it's haste.
He's got 4 backups, so he's in a good position to be able to play something here without having to discard a bunch of cards. So he actually has probably several lines of play with the resources in hand and on the field. But he's also looking at 3 opposing forwards.
He's looking at a pair of 6Ks and a 7K. He's got to have body. He's got to have a body that can also handle that Lulu with the extra 5K.
All right, we're going to get Vincent. That will always be protected from any potential Odins. We haven't seen an Odin yet in this game.
No. Vincent stalwarts Odin pretty handedly.
Yeah. But still, at this point, he's going to have to block whatever Thomas throws at him. Attacks first with the Barbarisha. He is going to block with the Vincent. That won't kill it by itself, but Lulu's probably coming in here. Yep. Going to break the stage with Lulu to try to finish off.
Brian's going to respond by death penalty.
He can't, though, because Vincent just... he hasted it. Very nice. Very nice.
And just like that, Brian's got a clean board.
That's actually very, very solid right there. I didn't catch the haste, so.
And Balthier, the hero.
That death penalty.
Death penalty, it saved him. Let's see if he can capitalize off of it.
We're gonna get
Promo Vincent.
Keep in mind, too, that the Vincent being in play does make the commander go up to 8,000 power. So as long as Vincent stays out there, which is never a given against Lightning, but as long as he stays out there, we're going to be in good shape here. At least he's got that 8,000. You know, trading a WRO commander for Balthier, not necessarily a bad play here. And I think that's might have just realized. We'll see what happens.
He's going to think about attacking.
Balthier's getting some exercise right now. He's just going to dull and activate a little bit, get warmed up for anything potentially going on. Looks like he is going to play Barbarisha on the commander, thus making it so he would not trade with Balthier. Because again, Brian's at 6 points of damage. So at this point, it's either lose a forward or lose the game. Oh, and then he's also playing the Black Mage. Oh, was he dulling for? No, because he attacked. Oh, I see what happened. He dulled to use Balthier's ability. Then he played the Black Mage, activating Balthier again.
Yeah, that's fine.
Now he's going to break that Black Mage. Okay, so between all of that, between all of that, he managed to remove both forwards. That was, as I said, against Lightning, not too likely it's going to stay on the field. So that's going to be the end of the first game here of 3.
Yeah,
go ahead.
What you saw Thomas with the resources available to do all those maneuvers at the same time. You know, Barbarisha, he'll dull, Balthier to take out the WRO commander, or then he'll drop the backup to activate Balthier again, which will allow him to attack in that same turn. So it's a solid combo, and it's really good. It's so good, and Thomas it felt like he had the answers anytime Brian had a board presence. And that's credit to Thomas as a player, but it's also credit to the deck that he's building and playing. But We'll see if Brian can come back game 2. See what he does.
Yep. Yeah, the interesting thing is, once we get to these top 8 matches, we're doing best of 3, and it's a very different animal playing best of 3 than best of 1. If you don't know what to expect from your opponent's deck, then that first game is very much kind of figuring out what the game plan is. And at that point, you're looking at what adjustments are happening on both sides. I mean, they both have more information about each other's decks, so it's going to affect their decisions going into the early parts of the next game. For example, if you were playing against a Golbez deck and you didn't know it the first game, you might not make the same lines of play, but then in game 2, you're going to start thinking about how to deal with that potential Golbez threat, and it might be that that's enough to actually counteract what they're trying to do.
Yeah, so best of 3, always top 8s. It really evens out the playing fields, and the stronger players tend to rise to the top, and stronger decks, more consistent decks, because any gimmick decks can take a game.
All right, we're into game 2 here. He's discarded the Zidane. It looks like to play the Archer. We've got a first turn Red Mage again from Brian, discarding the Cyclops.
Yep, let's game.
So seeing the Cyclops being discarded, it's always a feels bad, because Cyclops will help you and trade with anything upwards of 3K, but you got to get that turn 1 backup.
Yep, and we were talking earlier on the stream about how things like Gipple on turn 1 are definitely feels bad moments, and if you in a situation where either you mulliganed into it and so you're stuck with it either way, or like the rest of your hand is good but you've got that, it's unfortunate, but sometimes the rest of your hand is working well enough that you're going to keep it anyway.
Yeah.
So he's playing Jesse. The obvious targets. Actually, there's a lot of targets in this deck. If you're using the WRO deck or the kind of suite of cards, as you can see, he's retrieving the forward there.
Yeah.
It's going to get any of them for you. The commander, just the standard WRO member. You can get Yuffie. You can get Vincent. You can any of those. It's actually a very good play that I don't see that much in decks that do the WRO. I think people maybe just either don't realize or they have other plans, but it's very versatile.
Yeah. It's if you're playing a Final Fantasy VII themed deck, another card that also hits Minerva. Doesn't seem too much play, but it's an immediate threat in any game it comes out to, and it has to be dealt with. But yeah, Jesse is a very underrated card. It's a searcher, which most decks should have a searcher.
Looks like he discards an Odin into a Fusoya, I believe that is.
Looks like it.
Targeting the WRO member, but was not enough to take it down. Getting that first point of damage, and because now with the WRO backup, if you didn't catch that coming in there, that's a brave WRO member.
And it's going to be swinging until Thomas can get a response out there.
Discarding that Aerith, which is actually a great defense against lightning. Playing Balthier.
And then everyone's favorite hero, Balthier. Which is, it's an immediate response to a 7K Brave WRO member. He obviously can't trade into it, but combat tricks.
Yep.
And you're playing lightning, you've got combat tricks.
He's going to play a Sage to retrieve possibly the Zidane. We've seen him like that Zidane. I'm not sure.
Lulu, getting back to Lulu.
Right. It's one of those cards that lets you get back not just a forward, but any character.
Right. Forward, backup, you name it. But will not get you a summon.
And an Opus 4 to let you get back a monster.
Yes. Looking forward to the monsters.
Well, presumably. I forget if there's any official word yet on monsters being characters, but I believe they were in chapters.
Ingus Black Mage.
All right. That's another one of those where it's a card that has an extra effect that is a little bit more versatile than other ones that are similar.
Yep, he hits the Chaos Walker.
Is that what that was?
Thomas
Okay.
choosing Ingus here to allow Brian to play a forward from his hand to the field.
To replace that, yep.
Amon.
Wow.
Okay, I get why Thomas would do it. I don't think it was a worthwhile play. Ingus already came out and did his job. Played a free backup.
Yep. I mean,
Oh, Barbarisha Balthier combo.
Well, that's going to take care of him on. So that's an effective way to deal with that free forward. So.
You guys are tapped down, right? These guys are.
Yeah, the thing about that Ingus is, as I was going to say before, basically you can play a backup that's a standard unit with him as well. And most of the time, cards that enter the field and play something else will play only a forward, but he is an exception there. But because you're getting that 2 CPU backup with him, it's essentially kind of like you're paying 2 for the backup and then 2 for Ingus, so you're kind of getting an 8K for 2. He plays the guy, puts haste on it, decides to attack with the WR member, that trades with the Barbarisha. We're up to 3 points of damage, hits the Fusoya.
Shit.
Yeah, I was like, if you get the other rounds, I'm getting hit by it. So then it's not going to do a lot.
Let me get
Rigdia on Guy.
Yep. Hits Kane for damage.
And immediate swing there.
Yep. And we've gone from a relatively even amount of forwards on the field to being very one-sided.
Sure. Go for it. Yeah. Well, thanks. Do you want to play some more? Yeah, let's play some more. Well, we have plenty.
Okay, we're up to. He's got 4 backups.
7. Everyone's Shantoto.
I love Shantoto.
Shantoto, it's a great card, but I feel like if you have to play it, you're in a bad situation. But Brian, that was his 5th backup, so he can play anything going forward.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that was a bad call.
Yep.
So we'll see if he can.
Yeah.
The other thing too is that Thomas is playing these cards. He's playing Fusoya. He's playing Sage, cards that get you stuff back from your break zone, and Shantoto is removing things from game. So that's an Alcid that ain't coming back.
Yeah. Thomas follows with Inuo, one of the Opus 3 cards. It's a great card. You'll pay 1, I believe, and you can remove any card in the break zone from game at whatever speed you want. And he's a 9K body. So anything in the break zone, he can remove it whenever he wants. And Thomas has to deal with it. It's a 9K coming at him every turn.
I'll keep this one. This is fine. So, I'd like to start if that's okay.
Yep. So that's a good follow-up to the Shantoto there. He's gonna play Vincent, which is not immune to Alcid, but still will prevent any Odin nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. No.
And Lulu Thundaga.
Yeah, it will not prevent Thundaga either.
No, he will.
He's figuring out whether he has a response. It looks like he's all right. He's gonna take that
Take
and
the
then
point
Inuo.
damage. He's
Oh,
gonna
the
Rob on for
Robon
nothing.
comes just a little bit too late. Another feels bad moment. This is kind of what we would expect, I think, from 2 players that are both using a good amount of lightning, is we're going to have forwards not staying out for very long. He's hasting Guy again. You can see this is a pretty popular line for Brian to do. It hits another Fusoya on the damage there, so no help on the X burst. But the playing, especially a brave forward and then hasting it, is very solid. You're still there defensively if you want it to be, and you're getting that point of damage in.
Yeah, it pushes Thomas to 4, making Thomas so he can't overextend too much into attacks. And yep, Rigdia for 3, Fusoya, Lulu the rest of the way.
Yep.
Sacking Fusoya, finishing it off.
Gonna get something back, which is that Winzidane from
Winzidane,
the first turn, I think it was.
He's gonna play it.
Now one thing, it's a combo. It depends on whether or not Thomas has it or if he's just preparing for it. But the Winzidane combos, okay, we're getting an attack with Inuo. That's going to bring up to 3 damage. One thing that combos very well with the Zidane is Chaos. If you have both of them, you can see whether your opponent has another forward in their hand, remove it with the Zidane, and then once you know, then it's safer to play the Chaos as a follow-up.
Yep. And it looks like Brian doesn't have much in his hand. He's about to get hit for a bunch of damage. He hits another Robon off the top with no forwards again. And there's the 3rd Robon. Looks like it's gonna push Brian to 6 points of damage. And he's gonna Odin
There's the Odin I
Zidane.
was
You know,
waiting
I
for.
think that one's about sending the message.
That really is.
That one, he's been hit with the Zidane countless times this turn.
I mean, most of the time, you hit 3 Robons in the same game. You're pretty stoked about it, but
Not when
but
you
three-
don't have a forward
3
out.
times without a 4 on the field that's really rough.
Sure.
And he's still looking at 2.
Inuo and Rigdia on the field.
That card's not good anymore.
Oh, is he at 5 points of damage? I might be incorrect there.
Oh, yeah, 5 points of
Okay.
damage.
That is my mistake.
Alcid
Alcid by himself. There was no active forwards, so the ability wouldn't
Would not
work
trigger.
anyway. But it will soak up potentially a point of damage there, or be able to block the Rigdia actually without dying. But we're gonna get a Black Mage, and then Lulu is gonna follow that up. Unless he has a response.
Go ahead.
Just looking at his options.
2,
Looks like he's
3. Looks like he's going to
5.
overpay
to
to
overpay for the
Atomos.
Atomos to get rid of the Rigdia.
Oh, so he couldn't Atomos because Alcid's a 2K.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and
So-
that's
and
going to be
that's
game.
going to be the match. So, yeah, very. Once things got rolling there for Thomas, it was not to mention hitting the 3 Robons without a forward out. I mean that could have really changed the game without. Or with any forward, if Guy had been out there, any of those forwards that we had seen before, that would be very different.
Yeah, but when you're playing against a Lightning player, you have to know that nothing's gonna stick on the board. Nothing's gonna stay with the Lulu backup. You're gonna start stacking everything.
Yep.
And
There's just so many cards in the deck that will do damage or reduce power when they come into play that the chances of your opponent drawing or having them in their hand is pretty high.
yeah, and every backup that he was playing did something when it came in. The Black Mage, the Fusoyas, anything with the Lulu is just gonna finish everything off. It's what's gonna do.
Yeah, I mean that's it's interesting because Lulu was very popular, I think, in the early Opus 2, I want to say,
Yeah.
meta, and then I think a lot of players didn't have access to Minwu or things to deal with Lulu at that point.
Yeah.
But then once we had the reprint of Opus 1, and those were more available, I think she kind of moved out of favorability.
Yeah, when water became relevant with mono water, wind water, water lightning, anything like that, where you can run a Minwu, it's gonna negate 90% of Lulu.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so it's interesting how the meta is cyclical, and the balance of this game is just so good right now that any top deck does not stay that way for long.
yeah.
I mean, that being said, Mono Lightning in particular, this is not Mono Lightning, but Mono Lightning has been a force to be reckoned with ever since Opus 2, just because Alcid is a beast of
Yeah,
card.
Alcid, Onionite, Rigdia, Lulu,
Yeah.
Fusoya, Black Mage. It's
Yeah.
80% removal.
It got a lot of, Lightning got a lot of love in Opus 2. But Opus 1, Lulu was already kind of one of the big tricks for them. And the thing is, you can really shut it down either with removing Lulu or Aerith, but the
Dark
thing is, yes, Dark Emperor will do that too. So if you're playing Earth and you have a Heka and you draw it, which is kind of the deal there, then you're gonna you can definitely get good value out of getting rid of the Lulu there. Chances are they're going to play another one sooner or later, but that's still a good way to deal with that, at least in the meantime. And then the hard counter is the Opus 3 Legendary Aerith.
Yeah, your opponent's backups can't do anything to your forwards, like literally nothing.
Yeah.
They can only target their own forwards. So if you're going to Lulu while their opponent has Legendary Aerith, you're targeting your own forward, which you don't want to be doing.
No,
ever.
you really don't. Yeah, so it's, and what's interesting is locally in our meta, we have some players playing Aerith. Still not a whole lot, but if you're playing using the Planet Protector Aerith from Opus 1, it's pretty easy to throw in at least one of the Legendary Aerith as one of to feed Planet Protector. And then if you're playing against Mono Lightning or something with Lightning where you're expecting that or expecting a Lulu, then that's a great hard counter, and it requires the opponent, if they're playing Lightning. Lightning doesn't have any removal of backups itself.
No.
So
you got to play 8-drop Sephiroth.
Yep, and hope you draw it, because you're probably not playing 3 of it. So yeah, we're definitely looking at how lightning when kept unchecked is
what you
pretty
see.
huge.
That's
But there's answers to it. So we'll see whether the meta actually, for at least our local meta, adjusts to that. If we start to see more Aerith, we start to see more Earth and Heka to deal with that. Chances are, if this deck is caught in trouble for a while, or the local play group here is gonna make them suffer for it.
Yeah. If Thomas wants to keep running 5-drop Lulus, Earth is going to come back. Hecatoncheires will come back, and it will not stay.
Yeah. Well, again, thanks for watching us here on the Breakzone for our quarterfinals coverage. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Please subscribe to us if you haven't already. It's, down here somewhere. Subscribe to us. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Breakzone. Give us a like. Tell us what you think about how we're doing, what we could improve. If you like what we're doing, tell us that you like what we're doing. We want to give you the sort of coverage and content that you guys are looking for. We'll be coming up here shortly with our Remove from Game segment to talk to the winner of the last match, Thomas, a little bit, and then after that we will have the semifinals. So just stick with us, and we will see you shortly. All right, welcome back. We're here with the winner of our last match, Thomas. So welcome to our stream here, Thomas, or at least welcome to this side of the stream, I suppose. Yeah. So that's just the way it goes, I guess, is that we're not on stream all day. Get on stream for the top 8 and win that first round. So that was quite a punch that you packed there with that Lightning Wind deck, I think. It's not a combination of elements that we see very often. So what was it that led you to try that combination?
I've always loved Mono Lightning. Lulu, most of my decks start with 3 Lulu, 3 Fusoya. And going into Opus 3, I knew there were a bunch of cards that could shut down the deck. Minwu was always a problem.
Right.
And the new Legendary Aerith completely shuts down the deck.
Yep.
So a bunch of my friends and I from Meta Potion, Matt Okamoto and Kyle, we brewed a Ice Lightning version at first, running the 8-drop Sephiroth and the 4-drop Sephiroth that can use to search to deal with those problematic backups, so then Lulu's always on the line. But in practice, I felt like it's not as reliable. Being able to deal with multiple issues if a deck has Minwu and Aerith, it just overloads what that one Sephiroth can do.
Right, especially with the popularity of Wind Water right now. I mean, theoretically, you could run into a deck that's doing both of them.
Yeah.
so that's definitely a difficult counter right there, I think.
So definitely the reason why I looked into Wind was the ability to use Archer. Being able to deal with those two backups, that's problematic. The other major thing about why I liked Wind was the way to deal with Cecil and other problematic forwards like Dark Emperor 4-drop. Originally with the Ice deck, you only had 7-drop Odin as a way to deal with them with Chaos Walker, Wheel of Chaos.
Yeah.
It's a cheaper
Chaos,
way.
whatever the subtitle is. Walker of the Wheel, Wheel of the Walkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was noting, I think it was after the matches were over, that you have a very potent 1-2 punch there of the Wind Zidane and Chaos, because they do deal with some of those problematic forwards that your opponent might be only playing one of. So if there is an Emperor, even if you run the risk of them replacing it with Chaos, for example, then chances are they don't have a second Emperor in their hand, so that still accomplishes what you want it to. Not to mention, if you have them both in the same turn, you can play the Wind Zidane, see if they have any forwards in their hand, remove maybe the one that you like the least, and then you could still follow it up with Chaos and perhaps have them either have no replacement left in hand or replace a really good forward with like a less efficient
Exactly,
one.
and yeah, like most forwards like Cecil or Dark Emperor, like you said, they only run 1 or 2 of it. Odds of them ever drawing that second one when you need to kill it, you can always deal with the lesser, at least with the damage. So.
Right. So when you're playing the Wind Zidane in general, is there like what is it you're particularly looking to get rid of from the opponent's hand, other than potentially forwards, I guess?
Anything that's problematic, Shantoto, Delita, 5-drop Delita. The informations I think is more helpful, and just being able to like make them like targeted discard, I think is very strong in this format. Keeping them down to like fewer cards in hand.
Yes.
Makes Chaos Walker also like more potent.
That's true, yeah, because you're diminishing the chance that they got a forward, and there's so much removal in your deck between Lulu and various other things that chances are they're playing forwards as fast as they can, and whatever's left in their hand is probably not a forward, just because you run into those problems. Like I think there was at one point you had Alcid, Onion Knight, and somebody else out, and you'd managed to clear the field of the opponent's forwards. So if there's any forwards left in their hand, then it's probably because they haven't had their turn yet to play a new one, right?
Yeah.
So, are there any matchups or any elements that you feel are tough for you?
I think I've been tweaking with this deck around. I think mono Earth, or at least Earth-based decks are a problem. We have a local who loves to run Delita and Titan as a combination, and having to deal with Delita, all my things generally target Delita, so Lulu can't really effectively answer it. Alcid, Onion Knight both kill themselves.
Yeah, that's a hefty price. That's like a two card, still 4 CP, but it's 2 cards to get the Odin effect essentially.
Yeah, and if they have a Titan on the table or in play, they use a Titan, and it's like you take that damage from casting an Odin or you're down so much tempo.
Yeah. Did you have any tough matchups today yet, or how's your day been to this point after all the Swiss rounds?
I lost to Brian round 1.
Okay.
I think
we saw him on the stream. He was playing the Earth Lightning deck. It was Brian with a Y for those of you watching, since we did have 3 Brians. So. No. Oh, you lost to that Brian.
Yes,
oh, I'm sorry.
I lost to this Brian.
Okay, all right. They're both playing Earth Lightning, right? Even I'm getting it mixed up here. 3 Brian, 2 of them playing the same element combination.
Yeah.
Brian with an I, the who we just saw. So, all right. So yeah, that matchup there was a little difficult.
Yeah, I played 2 Knights decks. I played 1 Cadets deck, and then I also played 1. I don't remember the last.
Okay.
Oh, Windwater. I played Brian Corgi.
Corgi, yep.
Yeah, so
all right.
Aggressive decks. Generally, my matches look like I take 4 damage and then hopefully I stabilize at that point.
Right. Yeah, because it seems like you build up a lot of backups, and then once you have control, you don't seem to have any qualms about losing those backups to Lulu, as long as you're staying ahead on the forwards, right? 'Cause the ability to get in like 3 points of damage on a turn, like if you're going to lose a backup or 2, but you still get all those points of damage, that's I can see where that's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
So, okay, other than Lulu's the obvious, what other MVPs of your deck do you think there are?
I think going Wind, you also get Balthier. I think Balthier combos, Balthier and Barbarisha combos with all my some pretty solid number of backups with Black Mage, with Fusuria, with like Lulu himself, or activations, like being able to ping some, as long as like Barbarisha is in play, or as long as Balthier's in play. You can ping and then play it back up. Like with Surya, ping again, deal with backup that's 9k.
Yeah,
Black
yeah,
Mage
the
can-
possibilities there for sure.
Yeah, Black Mage can deal with an active
Well, I mean-
Balthier
well,
8k
I mean,
forward, and that's
yeah.
not including any sort of
Do you want
further
one more?
assistance
I
with
can play more if
Lulu
there's actually are there more
Right,
things I can do
right.
to play?
There's you got a hydra of a deck there with lots of different threats for sure.
That's a removal.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for joining us here on the stream. Good luck with your next matches here, going into the top 4 at that point. And you know, maybe we'll be seeing you a little bit later on today. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching us, and we will be back with our semifinal round.
Oh yeah, yes, Sunday.
See you in a little bit.